Andy Stevenson for SevereMMA, and I am joined alongside Ciaran Clarke here in SBG headquarters. Big fight coming up Friday the 23rd of September against Georges Sasu on Bellator Dublin. How are you?
Feeling good, yeah. Looking forward to it there now. So, I found it a long time ago, so it's coming to a close now. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we last saw you, obviously the win over Abu Tunkara back in February. You mentioned to me this is kind of the longest you've known in advance of a fight. How has that been? How long have you known about this fight?
Yeah, so I got confirmed 15 weeks out. So I think I would have maybe started finding it about maybe the start of May, end of April. I'm not even sure. It was early anyway. So, ever since you get it confirmed, it's in your head and you're just training away for it. So it was tough because you're kind of pulling it back 1 or 2 weeks, but I mean it was good because you can get the weight low and kind of hover around there, and you can it's both pros and cons, you know.
Yeah, like what's the difference, I suppose, in your training when you know so far in advance? I'm sure usually you gear up for a fight kind of maybe 8 weeks beforehand, whereas you've known double the amount of time.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually learned a lot this camp because I tell you why. I'm always training anyway. I'm never not training unless of an injury or a niggle or anything like that. And even if it is only for a few days or taking a week after a fight to, recover or whatever. But I'm always training, so I'm always fit, So, but this time I really learned that 8 weeks is enough for me. Like, even 6 weeks, like it's, you ramp it up for them a few weeks, I'll be ready, type of way. So I learned like that as well. So, because I had me weeks, as I said, that I was pulling it back a bit because, it was maybe peaking too early. But so 8 weeks is plenty of time. So I learned that this time. But it was good as well because, I mean, you get more, I suppose more reps in, more rounds in with the type of guys you're going to be fighting. And so it's good. It's good.
You said, maybe a shorter amount of time would be better for you. Is it the physical side or the mental side that kind of is the most challenging or different?
Both. Physically, you're putting the foot to the metal too quick, maybe, and you're peaking too early. You're getting, I don't know, and then mentally, then it's a lot longer, and then I love me food as well, so it's tough, and then like when you're 15 weeks out, you're like, it's never an issue for me, but it's like you want to be doing the right things leading up to it. So yeah, it's but look, you live and you learn. But don't get me wrong, like it was great to find out early, man. I found out early. My pro debut was about 12 weeks out, and that was great as well. So look, it's time enough anyway.
Yeah, we'll chat a little bit more about the fight in a bit, but 5-0 now, still undefeated. A win over Abu Tunkara in Dublin in February there. How happy are you overall with your career today? Your pro career to date. 5 fights under the Bellator banner. All things going well?
Yeah, all's going well. Like I'm delighted to be with Bellator, starting my career with them, and 5-0 there now. Obviously, the last one out, it was a bit of a mad one with the shoulder injury and stuff. But it was in hindsight, looking back now, that it was obviously he didn't slip in a banana peel and there he was fighting me, and then I was actually, when I watched it back, I could see actually what did happen. It was something that I had done, a technique I had done. I'd have caught in fights before, so it was I took that as a win then. But on the night I didn't know if it was an existing injury or what was, but anyway I got the win. But I'm looking past that now. I'm looking to keep the momentum going, please God. 6-0 now in a few weeks, like.
Yeah, what have you learned, I suppose, from your last number of fights? Is there anything that you're taking away from those fights and bringing into your training?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fights themselves, look, I as everybody knows, I'm coming in there, I'm putting the pressure on, I'm dictating the pace, but maybe coming in and, slowing it down a bit and really starting to mix it up better, and all the takedowns and all me striking and everything will open up then, so I'm looking forward to this one because I think he'll bring the best out of me in the sense that he's good everywhere. He's good striking. In his last fight with Ellis, he took him down, and he'd fought a bantamweight before, so he's he'd be tricky off his back. Watch him 1 or 2 fights, so it's going to be a tough test, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned there, so Georges Sasu, your opponent, he's fought Ilias Bulayed, who's trained here in SBG before. Did you take much, it was a competitive fight, did you take much from that performance from him, and are you kind of looking at holes to pick out in his game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can look at that, and I've trained with Ilias obviously, and I can look at that and say, right, well, I can see here and there where I could hopefully exploit it. And but look, that was in November last year. It's going to be 10 months since that fight. He's obviously gotten better. But yeah, look, I mean, judging off his last fight, I'm feeling fairly confident after this. So it's just getting in there and doing it then,
Yeah, you know, we've said 5-0. You had a big win over Jean Doyev a couple of fights ago. He was 8-1 at the time. Going in against an opponent like Georges Sasu, you see the record, maybe it's 4-2, a little bit less experience, but then you look at his record and you see he's got a win over, I know it's a custom rules, I think, over, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Chinese fighter's name that's in the UFC, Orkeling. There, I just lied to myself there, but does that kind of give you pause to say, okay, well, hang on, maybe he's a bit more experienced than his record suggests?
Yeah, definitely. As you said there, Sherdog saying 4-2, Tapology didn't fight. I don't really know, but it was given to me at 5-2, and like, yeah, he's a tough lad. I've seen his fights and you know what I could watch him, and he's a good win over that lad that's in the UFC now. And so when you look into him, he's a tough opponent. And but look, I mean, I'm at Bellator now. I've literally never turned down an opponent at Bellator. Like Jude will tell you that. I'm there now. You know, it's not as if I'm building a record to get to, and I wouldn't even be that guy, to be honest. You know, it's not in me to say no. I mean, look, if the fight's right for me, and I'm going to take it. And as I said, I'm here in Bellator now, so I'm just here to fight who they put in front of me, you know.
Yeah, you signed a 6-fight deal with Bellator. Is this your final fight in the contract?
No, so what happened with the COVID and everything, after the John and Doy fight, I signed the contract in November 2020, but it didn't start until in November 2021. So it doesn't start until your first fight. So I have another year with them now after this one. So potentially another 3 more. Please God, it'd be great to get another 6-0, to at least 2-3 more wins. It'd be brilliant, you know. And obviously then they'll be in position then to re-sign, or if they're happy to keep me, or look elsewhere then, or whatever. But I'm not even thinking of that, because I've learned from the amateur days, going through the IMAFs, I just focus on each fight. I don't look at the result as in the medal or a record. You know, I just focus on each fight, and that's all I really can do, you know.
Are you looking to just get fights in and get experience at the moment, or are you like, is there a plan in your head where you want to fight X, Y, or fight X, Y, and Z to progress, or like, how are you approaching your career from a building perspective?
To be honest, I'm kind of leaving that in the hands of like John, me coach, and Bellator themselves, because ultimately they're the ones that, you know, dictate that. I can't really, in the sense, like, you know, pick and choose. I'm going to be fighting here, or, you know, I just literally fight who they put in front of me, and I'm happy just to keep building my record, as in, you know, it'd be great now to keep it undefeated. And so I don't really focus on that, as I said, because I have a job at hand now in 2 weeks, so, and it's a tough one, so I'm just focusing on that. Yeah,
and look, coming off the last win, you're seeing yourself on the Lewis. I see you're in your main card fighter this time around. Yeah. Your face is on the Lewis. Yeah. What's that like?
It's a mad one. I didn't even know about that, to be honest. A fella I know said it to me, "Oh, you're on the Lewis," or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, deadly." I just thought it was a little poster, you know, and I'd be a little tiny face and queely with the main man. Next day he sends me a photo there, and it's a big portrait, and I couldn't believe it. So, and then to know I was getting that Lewis up the train before he started driving, myself and my brother slogging it, and, you know, jam packed, and avoiding the boys with the tickets, and, you know, all this, and next letter, here I am on the side of it. It's mental. I mean, you can never expect that. You always, you know, strive to where you are and fighting in the 3 arenas. You can see things like that, but you can never see yourself on the side of a Lewis, you know.
How did you react the first time you saw it?
It was mad. Oh yeah, I was just laughing to myself, to be honest. Anytime anyone says it to me, I just think it's gas, like, you know. I just think it's mad, like, and yeah, Bellator put me on it, like, you know, it's mental. But yeah, to be driving down the road next to that, be looking, and there it is, you know, it's mental, yeah.
Yeah, could you have ever seen yourself when, you know, for anyone watching who doesn't know, you were spending 5 days a week, yourself and your brother Daryl were getting the bus to Dublin, getting the Lewis out to the gym and back, you know, it's not just one way, it's back again. Back. Could you have ever imagined yourself being plastered all over the Lewis back then?
No, never, no. I could never imagine that, to be honest. Yeah, just it's the two of us logging up every day on that, and then rain, hail, snow to get the train here, and yeah, it's a mad journey, to be honest. Or even to be so quick into my pro career, to be, you know, 5-0 Bellator on main cards, and, you know, on sharing cards with Yoel Romero and, you know, Benson Henderson, Peter Queally fighting for world titles, and it's unreal, like, it's unreal.
Who do you think wins that Yoel Romero and Melvin Manu fight?
Yeah, I think Romero's going to win. I think, I just think he's too physical. He's just better, you know. I think, look, if he's not smart and he wants to go in and have a slugfest, I think it'd be tough, you know what I mean? But I think he's going to get the job done, yeah.
Every time we talk about the Drogheda support, the Yellow Batter support. Have you noticed any change in, you know, when you're out and about there, do you feel that support from your community when you're walking out and about now that you've not only gotten to Bellator, we've seen the support that's come down since day one, but you've had a few fights, you've been winning consistently. Has it changed at all?
A little bit, yeah. Like, I mean, just a small rising, you know. And but yeah, like I was well known around the town, like for been going for chasing this dream, you know what I mean, to be a professional fighter. And the numbers really haven't dipped. It's always just gotten more. From my pro career, I brought 300 my first fight to now. It's like the same, you know. So, I mean, it's but yeah, you get people like a little bit recognise you or looking at you a bit more, and or you know, wishing you best of luck, or you know, things like that. Like, it's great. So but the support I get from the town, it's unbelievable, and I'm really, really grateful. And I don't even think I'd be probably here without that support and the energy I feel often, because you know, as we know, I put the bums in the seats, and it's a big thing. Like, so it's great, yeah.
So apologies for making you cry after your last fight, and I'm going to ask you the same again.
Yeah.
But you know, I asked you a question about your brother Daryl and how you've come up together. Can we talk a little bit more? Like how long have you guys been on this journey together, I suppose, and what does he mean to you?
Yeah, so basically myself and Daryl, again, as I said, I said in that interview, we were born the same day, 2 years apart. So we were basically like glue growing up and killing each other and all that, and you know, the normal brother stuff and that. And then the two of us just basically had grew an obsession with combat, really, and that was just from like the likes of like, you know, WWE games, and then we dabbed in a bit of boxing. The two of us just constantly bouncing off each other, and literally about fighting, like, you know. So it kind of consumed us fairly early, like that, like, and then two of us then jumped into a gym. Then Conor Dillon's known for MMA. When was that? That was 2011. Started there, and I had my first fight out of that gym then about 7 or 8 months later, and yeah, like, I had no intentions of going pro or anything like that. And then Daryl having his fights, and you know, and doing so well, winning a British title at 18, IMAF European bronze medalist, just been together on this journey, and to have him in the corner now, and he's literally my rock that week of the fight. Like, again, I said, like, I'm older, but he feels like the older one. He's like, you know, giving me most of the time it's spiritual advice. It's, you know, to calm, you know, not that I'm like a bag of nerves or anything, but it's just to have him there. It's the morale, you know, you really feel it, you know. And I really feel with the two of us as brothers, you know, you really feel that. Like, you can walk into a room, and do you know what I'm about?
It sounds like he's almost like a driving force behind you.
Big time, yeah. As I said, I could walk into a room, me and him, and or anywhere we go together, I just feel, you know, I feel that, you know, the way. And it's a special bond, and this sport has brought us together only for it, because, you know, most people have completely different lives to their brothers, but whereas me and him, we just, you know, spending that so much time together, the likes of getting looses and buses up, and fighting together, it's a special thing, you know.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a great buzz as well around the gym. A lot of SBG fighters, as always, on these cards. Who have you been working with mostly heading into this one?
Working with mostly, I'd say, as always, to be honest, he's probably everybody's main training partner is Richie Smullen. He's just constantly, like, that man, like, I don't know how he does it. Like, the training he does, you think you're working hard, and then you see what he does. It's unbelievable. So that's inspiring for me to work hard. And so it probably would be Richie. But as far as me sparring rounds, I'd probably be the likes of, like, you know, someone that can emulate me opponent. So I've been doing a good few rounds with Nahom, and I did a few rounds with Sam Slater, and Aziel, that's fighting tonight as well. And so these guys, Pedro got a few rounds in it as well, you know. So kind of guys that I feel will emulate the style of my opponent, if that makes sense. So, but basically, most of us are all training together regardless, you know.
Yeah. How do you see the fight playing out? Where do you see yourself overcoming Georges Sasu?
Yeah, look, I just think I'm going to go in there, and he's going to be reacting to me as usual. I just feel I'm going to dictate the pace. That's the plan anyway. And go in there and yeah, just put my pace in him. And I feel it'll probably be a back and forward first round. Everybody's a good first round, or, you know, or who knows, I could get him down early, or you know, catch him in the hop. But I think it's probably going to be second or third round finish. I think I could break him down over the 3 rounds, second or third round.
After you get the win, are we waiting until February to fight again? Are we looking to fight more frequently?
As I said, I don't know the plan of maybe if I was getting on the mic and screaming for it more. I don't know, but that's not that's not me. So
Would you like to fight more? So look, it seems it's very clear. It's February, it's September in Dublin. Would you like to be fighting more frequently than that?
definitely. Look, I'm there anyway for the Dublin cards, but definitely after this one, I'd love, one abroad or eventually break into the States and have a fight over there, because that's the goal, really, But I definitely do, because don't get me wrong, fighting in Dublin, there's nothing better to get that win in front of that crowd, in front of my home support. But the pressure and everything else, it's a lot more. Like, I'd love one now away and abroad, because when I had that Paris one abroad, like, it was just it was mental. I felt like it was just a lot easier nearly in a way. I was fighting him in his hometown, but don't get me wrong, it's much sweeter when you get to win the 3 arena. But definitely I want one now next year. If it was to get to 3 or 4, if 3 would be ideal, if you can get better in between, and I definitely would love to have one maybe somewhere else in Europe or the States, hopefully then.
I'm almost done with you here now. Quick pick, Queally versus Henderson.
I think Queally is going to get it done. It could be a decision though. I think it'll probably be Benson's probably going to try and make it burn, calf kick him on the outside, keep him at bay. But or even try to take Peter down. Peter's great to take down defence, but I do think Queally has that blitzing style coming forward, and he'll try and make it ugly with him. And I think over the 5 rounds, Peter will have it.
And lastly, do you have any message for the Drogheda support, which I'm sure will be coming down in droves to Dublin?
Yeah, look, I just want to say thanks very much to everybody. All my sponsors here from head to toe. I'm like a race car driver at this stage. All the local support I have, so it's unreal, and I just really appreciate it. And hopefully on the night then it'll be me extra driving force, as well as you said, as well as my brother been there. It's literally like that, and of course my girlfriend and all my family to supporting. But it's an extra driving force for me on the night, and I really appreciate it.
Well, Ciaran, thank you very much for the time. Ciaran Clarke's taking on Georges Sasu Friday 23rd of September at Bellator Dublin. A whole host of Irish fighters on the card. Peter Queally and Benson Henderson topping it off. Melvin Manhoof and forgetting the name now, Yoel Romero in the co-main event. We've got Kenny Mokoano, we've got Daryl Kelly, we've got so many more fighters from SBG Ireland. Tune in Friday, September 23rd, and thank you for the time.